Because I think there are like 3 or 4 different questions in there.
Right. So my first question has to do with like the morality, morality behind it.
Why be moral, or how is morality constructed?
I think it's bordering on why, kind of both, but more on the why being moral in this instance. Like why? Yeah.
So,
like,
here's a very simple answer that I like to give, and it's the answer is you can be moral purely for selfish benefit, because as I outlined with like my critique of disability studies, right, the way that we construct identities is socially based, right? The way that we construct what it means to be something is socially based. Here's a straightforward example, right? Cambodia, 30, 40 years ago, you and I would not be considered humans, or would not be considered worthy of moral protection, because you and I are both wearing glasses, and we would be sent out for killing fields and killed by Pol Pot's henchmen, right? Similarly, the structure and basis of humanity and the structure and basis of what it counts, of like what it means to count, is always subject to distinction, right? You bring up utilitarianism and like ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss for the 10 billion, actually I think it's more like 15 billion non-humans that are murdered in slaughterhouses every year, right? For them, it is not ignorance is bliss, it is an everyday experience of the horror and pain and torture of like what they're going through, why they're going through it. And I think to say that, like, look, it's why do we care about that if it doesn't really affect us and it makes us happy, ignores the fact that there's a massive population that we designate as not counting, right? As long as that possibility exists, you too cannot count. Out of a personal standpoint, you have as much skin in the game as the cow, as the chicken, as anyone else, because you can always be next, right? There is another way of looking at this, which is, the way that we, like, what does it mean to be you, right? You are not an island unto yourself. You are not an independent entity, and you are not like a unit that can claim to be directly an individual in any sense of the term. None of us are. And if there's anything that comes out of my paper, I think it should be that too, right? And in the world where you're not you, and you are part and parcel of a variety of interflowing concepts and closing concepts and assemblages, you also have skin in the game. You are part of this flow. And I think for you to say, well, if this makes me happy, why should I care about them? Ignores the fact that the way that you are made happy is through the massive suffering and massive pain that flows through you and flows out of you as a result. And I guess like the final question is like we have to accept that there is some sort of bright line somewhere. I think like for you to say, for instance, like this makes us happier, so why challenge it, right? I'm sure, and to follow the animal assisted therapy program, that if we went to the 1850s South, that we would find that people who had like a slave assisted therapy program would be happier, healthier, and have a lower stress rate, right? That doesn't mean that that program should be continued or should be left unchallenged, right? Similarly, I don't see a reason why animal assisted therapy should be fundamentally challenged on an everyday level when it causes massive stress to the non-human other and for negligible benefit. Anyway, that's my remaining thought.
Yeah, I'm a Buddhist, and I'm going to give you a Buddhist answer to that question, which is that there is no reason to be moral except for compassion. I know from my own experience that I want to be happy and I don't want to suffer. I know from my own experience, absolutely, that I want to continue living, I don't want to die. And I can look around at other sentient beings, human and non-human, and I can tell from their behavior that they have exactly that same consciousness that I do. And I know that my own suffering is evil. In fact, suffering and death are the very definition of evil. Happiness and life are the very definition of good. And there is no reason, logically, there is no reason objectively why I am more important than anyone else. There's no reason why I'm more important than you. There's no reason why you're more important than me. And what I want for myself, I should also want for everyone else.
we can use animals, we can like justify like slaughtering and killing animals, but we can't justify like using, you know, other humans.
I don't think anyone on this panel thinks that we don't.
I thought there was a slide or something.
I don't think anyone.
I might have.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I
there's-
think that there might have been one slide where, like, was it maybe the liberationist perspectives of the 6 ways that it's immoral to use animals, and like the last one is,
I'm not sure, I'm just
Well,
saying that I wish I heard it somewhere, but.
Okay.
I mean,
maybe the Peter
I
Sanders.
don't think it's that, I don't think it's that.
Oh, we got rid of that one. That's what it is, yeah, well, if
I
it
don't
was,
think it's that much
it
of a
wasn't.
pressing, I mean,
Yeah, I just want to be specific that I certainly do not feel that way. If that's the way it came up to anybody, I just want to make sure that I don't think at all that animals are used as a means to an end, that people aren't, that they matter more, or anything like that.
Yeah, we do use other people as means to an end. Obviously, we have to. We do it all the time. And there's no way not to. The difference is, the distinction, I think, is that we don't use them as, don't use other people as an end, or we should not use other human beings as an end in a way that violates their being, or in a way that violates their happiness. Supposedly there is a mutuality. In theory, there is a mutuality. But when it comes to animals, or in many cases when it comes to people with disabilities, or when it comes to racial oppression or gender oppression or things like that, we use other people or other beings, animals, women, people with disabilities, ethnic minorities, in ways that violate their personhood, in ways that violate their happiness, in ways that violate who they are and who they want to be. And that, I think, is the distinction.
Good time for maybe one more question if anyone has some.
I just wanted to say one quick thing also, quick question. Do you think, in all discussions like activism and like social justice and all this, there's any rule for the oppressor, specifically I guess in the human example, to like rise above the oppression or to sort of transcend the oppression, which is what I see happening, especially in racial like movements, in racial like social justice movements, in disability movements. I see a lot of like transcending being oppressed and like becoming a figure for you know, that I will not, that I don't know how to phrase it, that so yeah, do you think there's any role like for that as well in this dialogue? Yeah.
I don't know if this applies to what you're saying, but I can speak at least to my own personal experience, having been trained and also performed invasive animal research as a part of my schooling. I certainly consider that a role of the oppressor and, you know, one of the most vile forms of oppression. But I don't know if that's what you're talking about, like the oppressor, like overcoming
Yeah,
the oppressor
like you-
to fight against.
No, like, so if you're being oppressed by like a system and you rise above the system, like I would give like Oprah Winfrey or Will Smith, or like, you know, like if you,
Okay.
you know, if the odds are stacked, like,
So
is
like the
there,
opposite.
yeah, is there any like room or discussion for that type of like encouragement, or, because there's a lot of,
So can the oppressed transcend the system, or can the oppressor transcend the system? Is it the first with it?
the oppressed, sorry.
Yes,
That's what I meant to say, sorry, the oppressed.
Okay, that's
Sorry,
fine.
sorry, yeah. Versus the group that's being oppressed.
I'll take a swing at that. I'll say no.